Story time! In my old school, I was in a friend group of 5 girls, including me. Annie, Camila, Jenna, and Emily. We were all like best friends and always had sleepovers on Fridays or on the weekend. But Camila always said that she couldn't make it because she had soccer practice. We all said, it's okay, you'll come next time, even though she never came, and we never thought anything about it. Until one Wednesday afternoon at lunch when Emily went to the bathroom. We were all like, oh my god, we should totally throw her a slumber party for her birthday next week Friday. And everybody said yes, of course, and we all started planning it. But of course, Camila said, sorry, I have soccer practice, I can't make it. And me, as a straightforward person I am, said, you really can't miss one soccer practice for your best friend's birthday party? She of course felt really, really bad and said, okay, fine, I'll go. We were all super happy, but that was obviously a really bad idea. Part 2 of my last story time. So the day comes of Emily's birthday and we go to her house and we set up all the decorations, the piñata, the cake, all the arts and crafts, all the activities and everything. And when we arrive, we surprise her and we do all the activities, we eat cake, we do the piñata, we eat a bunch of stuff, and then it starts getting pretty late. So we decide, oh my god, let's go upstairs and watch scary movies and tell scary stories, and let's bring all the candy. So we went upstairs with all the candy, a bunch of candy, and we all set up our movie spot, and we start watching scary movies and telling scary stories. Everybody gets pretty tired, and we're all yeah, I'm going to bed, yeah, me too. But for some reason, Camila was no guys, let's pull an all-nighter. But that night, something very scary happened. Part 3 of the Camila story time. In the middle of the night, I hear a noise, so I decide to get up because I had to go to the bathroom anyways. I see that a bucket of Twizzlers were tipped over. I thought, oh, maybe someone else also had to go to the bathroom, let me go look for them. And while I'm leaving the room, I see that Camila is the only one who's not in her sleeping bag. I go to the nearest bathroom and I check if anyone's in there, and there's no one in there. I really had to go to the bathroom, so I got inside and I did my business, and while I was doing my business, I heard a door slam. After I finished doing my business, I got up and I started looking for Camila in all the bathrooms because Emily's house was really, really big. I go look around in the other bathrooms and there's no one in them. I decide to go back upstairs and wake up Annie, Emily, and Jenna. We all start searching the house, but we can't find Camila anywhere. At this moment, we were all scared that she had gotten kidnapped. Then we go into Camila's parents' bedroom and we see that the dad isn't. Went into Emily's parents' bedroom, not Camila's, sorry about the confusion on my last video. We see that Emily's dad wasn't there, and we start thinking that Emily's dad kidnapped Camila. Emily was bawling her eyes out. We were all super scared, and I had never been this scared in my entire life. Emily's dad was like a second dad to me, so I was super scared that I had been hanging around a kidnapper my entire life. Emily's mom woke up and said what's going on, and we tell her this whole story, and she's like, girls, calm down, Camila went home. We were all like, wait, what? And she was like, go get some rest, I'll tell you tomorrow at breakfast. At breakfast, Emily's dad was back. He explained to us that Camila was scared of the dark and scared of sleeping at other people's houses. And she probably dropped the bucket of Twizzlers when she was getting up to go tell Emily's parents that she wanted to go home. Camila's fine now and everything's okay. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support on my videos.
We were in class. I was in band at the time, and the classroom phone rang, and the teacher went and he answered the phone. He got really serious, he got this really concerned, shocked look on his face, and he hung it up and he turned to us and he said, everybody sit down, be quiet, the bell's going to ring in a couple minutes, you're going to stay seated. And then he went over to the doors and he locked them. And we were just like, oh shit, what is happening? And at first some of us were like, well, is it a bomb threat? Because we used to get bomb threats all the time, but then we realized that doesn't make sense because when we get a bomb threat, they evacuate us. And then we're like, is there some type of killer in the school? Is there a weather alert? Is there a terrorist attack? And none of us knew anything. The teacher wouldn't answer any questions. He was told not to. And the bell rang. We all stayed seated and we sat there for a really, really long time, and then the next bell rang, which means a whole other class period had passed, and still he said stay seated. And I can't tell you how long we were trapped in this room and nobody was telling us what was going on. We're all getting really scared and panicking.
Never had a situation like this, and we had practiced so many drills, if there's a bomb, we all go to the band lot. If there's a tornado, we all go to the basement. If there's a fire, we take these exits on this side. We always had a plan, and this was just something that we had never planned, and nobody was telling us anything. So eventually, they're texting their parents and calling their parents, and they're saying, do you know anything about this? And the parents are all freaking out, and some of the parents started listening to the police scanners, and it was getting back to us that there were ambulances outside of our school, and we're just like, and at this point, a lot of us are panicking because we think there's some type of shooter or something, because that makes sense. And finally, they just opened the doors and let us go, and they wouldn't tell us anything. Room for like hours. There's ambulances outside of our school, and you're just gonna let us go to our next class? So you can probably tell by the title of this video what happened. A girl died in class during school hours. And here's the story on that. So earlier in that day, around like first, second period, somebody sold her a bunch of Oxycontins. She, during school, took all of them. She ended up going to her 7th period class at 3rd period, and she walked in and the teacher was like, honey, what are you doing here? And she said, oh, I'm here for class. And the teacher was like, you're not here until later, honey. It's only 3rd period. And I wasn't here for this, but supposedly when she walked away, she said to somebody else, oh, she's on something, or she's drunk or something. But it was obvious that she was on something. So she went a couple classes later and she put her head down on the desk. She was sleeping, and she was just kind of one of those students who, you know, showed up late and slept in class. Obviously didn't show a ton of interest.
Story time. So this was 2 years ago, and I was at school, and it was a normal day until the principal went on the speaker and said, we're in lockdown, go in your closets. So we went ahead and went in the closets. We were all confused. Some people were scared. Everyone was like kind of asking the teacher what was going on and stuff. Now during this time, I wasn't asking anything or saying anything because I knew during a lockdown you don't want to say anything. So if there is someone in the school, they won't find where you are. But I was still listening to them because I was curious like everyone else. So while everyone was asking the questions, one girl stood up and said, if you're not going to say what's going on, I'm going to get out of the closet. The teacher yelled at her and told her no. And the teacher yelled loud, so whoever was in the school obviously heard. So the door opened and everyone became silent. And so basically, for part 2. Welcome to part 2. Okay, so the guy that came into our school was a prisoner that escaped prison. So he was like, where are you? And he stood in there for at least 10 minutes. Then we thought he left, but he was completely silent, and the teacher gave us a look saying, do not talk and do not move. So we all listened to the way he looked, and my best friend, the girl that stood up saying she would leave, got up and left. She thought that the guy was gone and she was going to get a counselor. So as soon as she got out of the room, we heard gunshots. As soon as the gunshots said that, I knew immediately what happened. I started crying, and I thought that she was dead. The guy didn't even try to come in the room that we were in, even though he knew where we were. He immediately left, knowing that he should have not shot the girl. Wait for part 3. Welcome to part 3. So as soon as the guy left, we got out of the closet and started panicking. We didn't know what to do since she was shot in the head, and we knew that she wouldn't make it. So we were all freaking out, and so was I, and I was crying, and I just couldn't breathe right, and I didn't know what to do. The speaker went off saying that the police and the ambulance were coming since the principal heard a gunshot too. So when the police came, they found the guy who was hiding in a locker, and he got contained and took into the police office. The ambulance were here and went in the room and took her. They said with their face, saying she would not make it. That was the worst day of my life. So the ambulance took her, and about 2 days later, we weren't allowed to go to the school since the guy was still on the loose. He escaped. So we all had to stay at our homes, and I visited my friend, and I didn't know she died.